An online conspiracy group called QAnon is being debunked by one of the group's founders. One America's Jack Posobiec spoke with one of the former top members of the group and has this exclusive.
For the past 10 months, an online movement has been picking up steam in America and has moved from online forums to Reddit to Twitter and to YouTube. It leapt from the little screen to the big screen when people began showing up at political rallies wearing shirts and waving signs that carried the name of the movement, QAnon, or simply Q. What is QAnon? Where did it come from? What is its purpose? And most importantly, who is Q? Well, Q first made its appearance on the web forum known as 4chan in October of 2017, referring to himself as the Q clearance patriot. Q messages, known as drops, follow a pattern of Socratic method questioning, cryptic messages, riddles, and coded drops of information. The earliest Q drops referenced an upcoming arrest of Hillary Clinton to take place on October 30th, 2017. That didn't happen. Instead, what happened on October 30th was quite the contrary. It was the exact opposite of the poster's prediction. Trump campaign officials and advisors, Paul Manafort, Rick Gates, and George Papadopoulos were all indicted. Manafort and Gates were placed under home arrest. Q would go on to report many more predictions in these drops, without any clear sign of them ever coming true. Several months before this occurred, a Twitter user named Dreamcatcher reached out to this reporter and told me about an op that he was planning with notorious pro-Trump troll Microchip that would plant bits of information on 4chan and act like it was coming from a high-level source inside the administration or the intelligence community. That later became the QAnon operation. I obtained chat logs from the two at that time in August of 2017, which back up their statements to us. That signing FBI Anon is good too, looks spooky, but we should do our own thing, one of them wrote. Let's use the Socratic method to question people, and they're going to flip on suggestions alone, said Microchip. Just sign it Micro, Dreamcatcher replied. But the response was that they needed something more sinister, and Q was born. Well, that's why I asked Microchip to record a video of himself opening up the Discord app on his iOS and scrolling through his screen to show us that the messages were not photoshopped or recreated in any way. Here is that video. I also interviewed Microchip to hear his take on the why and the how he created Q.
With the QAnon stuff, this wasn't something that was, this is a hard one to explain because this wasn't something planned like we just came together and said, this is our operation to take out something, right? It wasn't like that. This happened actually, I would say it's more of a mistake that it happened, right? But I've infiltrated Antifa groups. You have literature that they talk about, right? That there's dissident books and things like that of how to, riot.
So they're obsessed with what I would say some of the anarchist writers and socialist anarchist writers from Europe in the 1900s, I've noticed.
Yeah, yes, big time, right? And it comes to the Saul Alinsky type stuff, right? Like how the rules for radicals, how to disrupt society, etc. And one of those books that they came up with was Q by the Italian author guy, right? And in that book, he did the ominous messaging, and he would sign his messages as Q. We wanted to do something else. We started talking about different ways that we could engage Trump supporters, and then we came up with a list of different things like, what are these people interested in that sparks their attention. You've got George Soros, you've got Obama working with CIA and FBI to smear Trump in this Russia investigation. Once Trump was inaugurated, there was a lot of talk about that. You've got Trump surrounding himself with generals. People thought that he was going to, start World War III and things like that. Alex Jones, spewed out a bunch of stuff about war and all kinds of crazy theories. And so this was what was getting Trump supporters excited. We put together a list of different questions that would spark people's attentions or different items. We filtered it out, and randomly, one day, Dreamcatcher, on a post on 4chan, there was a post where somebody said Hillary Clinton will be arrested, shortly, right? Something like that. It was complete stupidity because she's not arrested. And it was one of those things where somebody was trying to set up some type of a gaslight type campaign, right? Again. And so, because we've been talking about this stuff, Dreamcatcher went to the next level, and he took that whole snippet and he added that she'll be arrested at this specific time within the next few days or something, right? And people responded to it. But the problem with the QAnon stuff, and I'm glad that our small group left, and it's not that we were ever a part of making the full QAnon, but it's turned dangerous, and I don't like that. I mean, some of the stuff that's happening, it seems pretty dangerous. These people are being gaslit by whoever's doing it now. I didn't want it to go that far. It was like this was meant to be just like a small unifying factor, just like the petition, right? Something quick, easy, done, out the door. It wasn't meant to go as far as it has with, and I can't remember the stories of what the QAnon people are doing now.
One guy thought that he was being told by voices to kill the president. We saw someone who tried to essentially cause a scene at the Hoover Dam with his van to force the DOJ to release the IG report. That's a big one that's been pointed out a lot.
None of the stuff that we would ever troll on is supposed to go that far. It's meant to be funny, to get people's imaginations going. The point is people are being exploited by others who are cognizant of that whole process within Trump supporters' minds, and they're being used, and I feel terrible about that. Part of the reason I even decided to speak about this story is because QAnon is dangerous, and I've spoken about this since early 2017. I told people, you've got to stop doing it, and I never wanted to be attached to it. That's why I've not said anything about it, but now is the time to come out and say, it's time to be done, guys. There is something going on with Trump, but QAnon is not going to solve your problems. There is no mysterious agency that's magically going to come save you, riding in on a white horse, like I guess Mormons would believe. But the idea is that you have to get out and you have to actually do stuff, because QAnon is not going to save you. You've got to go out and vote. You've got to go out and do activism. You can't just sit at home and then hope that these magical guys behind the scenes are magically going to save the USA, because they're not there.
Well, Microchip and his cohorts dropped off on Q posts fairly early on, but a new crew caught on to the op. This crew brought the Q postings first from 4chan onto a new board controlled by themselves on the message board 8chan. They began to introduce the aspect of trip codes and changing these trip code passwords to validate the Q persona. Then they decided to find more user-friendly ground by founding Reddit pages such as CBTS, Calm Before the Storm, and The Great Awakening. Along the way, many people came and went from the group posting as QAnon. Apparently, there is an online market for anonymous posts from unknown sources. Thousands of dollars have been made by the professional Q decoders, while others turn the movement into a cheap buck by profiting off of merchandise and paid mobile apps. The people currently making the most money off of Q appear to be the Patriot Soapbox group. Numerous times through their user, Pamphlet Anon, he has revealed himself to have had access to Q's trip code passwords and has even accidentally posted as Q while logged in on 8chan via live stream. He also once embarrassingly was caught claiming a post was from Q that did not contain the actual trip code validation. Not that hard to figure out how he knew about the post when no one else did. He recently set up an LLC out of his parents' house to take in more donations from Q followers. Recently, both Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Sean Spicer have been asked to confirm if Q was a real source. They both flatly denied that there was any truth to the posts. For those who followed this online movement, this information may come as somewhat of a shock, but hopefully this information will be seen as a helpful reminder to question anonymous sources on the internet and to remain skeptical of claims when events and situations take other directions, as has been the case here. While the people involved in this movement may have begun posting as Q for whatever reason, the fact remains that people did enjoy these posts in this form of information. And perhaps that can be the starting off point for a new series of riddles and puzzles and a new type of information system. There certainly appears to be an interest in it. But from the start, whoever ends up running it should always be open, honest, and truthful about who they are and what their motives are. Jack Posobiec, One American News.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.